everyone, I'm Witchy TQ, but you can call me Witchy or TQ, either is fine. And I'm here to teach you all about the skills in Palia. Because when you first start playing the game, they become available almost immediately. You're going to receive quests to talk to various villagers, do tasks, and from there, obtain all you need to start advancing each skill. Palia has a total of 8 skills you'll work to upgrade right now. This video will be taking an in-depth look at each one and giving you all the information you need before starting your own adventure. Let's start with farming. Farming is how you'll not only obtain ingredients for cooking, but for crafting and quests as well. Each crop seed currently available can be purchased from Zeki's general store in the village, but you'll also receive various seeds as rewards from the farming quest line. Each farmland soil section contains 9 plots in a 3x3 pattern. Each section can be placed to touch and extend the farmland, or in a different area for separate gardens. You'll need to hoe the plot before planting, which can lead to digging up an item or two as well. Crops require watering, weeding, and can be fertilized. Watering your crops is done manually. As of right now, there are no sprinklers in-game. However, this isn't as daunting as it sounds. Along with water retaining buffs, there's also a limit on the amount of farm plots you can have depending on your current home plot size. This most likely has to do with the devs wanting the experience to be more slow-paced and calm. Fertilizer can be bought at the general store or crafted once you unlock the ability. Fertilizers help grow better quality crops for better quality cooking or simply to sell at a higher price. Fertilizer also comes in a water retaining type, so you don't have to worry about watering your crops each day. This isn't the only way to get a crop buff, however. Crops themselves can contain buffs that apply to each adjacent crop. Crop buffs include water retention, weed repelling, growth and value boost, as well as quantity. You can see which buffs are active on each crop by pressing the indicator for inspect over planted crops. Just remember, crop bonuses only apply to crops directly next to each other, or sharing a full side, so to speak. And the same crop cannot buff another of the same type. For example, the onion's weed repellent will not affect another onion, but there are buddy systems to cover this, so make sure you carefully plan where each crop will be placed ahead of time, and remember to use fertilizers when you need to. More seeds can be made with the seed maker, which is the only reliable way of obtaining higher quality seeds, which in turn have a better chance of yielding a higher quality crop. It also means during long-term gameplay, it'll help in reducing the money you spend on seeds by making your own. When it comes to multiplayer farming, your friends can come over to help you with this endeavor. Other players can be invited over and help with watering as well as weeding the gardens. They cannot, however, plant or harvest for your garden safety. Here's a list of basic crops and their associated buffs in-game, as well as my current favorite layout for full coverage. Feel free to pause and take a screenshot. Now let's move on to foraging. Foraging includes picking up items you find throughout Palia, such as mushrooms, flowers, herbs, and various other things. You'll notice all forageable items you pick up will have a light glow around them in the world once you're a certain distance from them, making it easier to spot. Forageable items range in uses from cooking ingredients to loved gifts and even crafting. Foraging also includes chopping down trees. While a simple task, certain trees will need an upgraded axe to be able to cut them down, and having friends help will make the task go a lot faster, as well as yield drops for anyone who hits the tree at least once before it falls. You'll notice some trees have a magical swirling light around the trunk. These trees have magical properties that you'll discover will allow them to heal as you chop them down. You'll either need to use an upgraded axe on trees you would normally be able to cut down no problem, or gather a bunch of friends for chopping the glowing tree at the same time. Trees in Palia drop different types of wood. 3 types include heartwood, sapwood, and flow-infused. Heartwood comes from pine-looking trees, and sapwood from the others. Flow-infused, I'm sure you can guess where that comes from. Don't forget to cut down bushes too, for other necessary crafting resources. All trees and bushes respawn after a certain amount of time once you chop them down, so don't worry about saving anything for later. Let's move on to mining. When it comes to mining, it's a fairly simple task. You'll notice rocks with different colored nodes in them indicating an ore of some type. Ore includes copper, silver, and gold, to name a few. Copper is accessible right away, along with basic stone and clay, but things like gold will require an upgraded pickaxe. Various ore is located throughout the world, but you'll find certain areas have a higher spawn rate. Clay, for example, is mostly found near waterfront areas, so keep an eye out for smaller brown-colored rocks. All mining can be done solo, but will be quicker with friends. Everyone will gain the ore dropped from the rock as long as they hit it at least once. For example, if a rock takes 7 hits to break, 7 people simply need to hit it once to obtain the ore inside. Ore also has a specific respawn rate, so make sure your friends gather with you to help them out. Now let's move on to fishing, where I plan to talk more about the mechanics than the items in game, since I think finding which fish are where is half the fun. You can use various bait to catch different types of fish, as well as use locations and time of day to find other variations. Fish are used in cooking and can be sold for a decent price on their own. To fish, hold the left mouse button and aim the dotted line where you'd like to cast. You can click and release, or short hold for less distance, or simply walk your character backwards while still holding down the left mouse button before releasing to cast the line. To know if a fish has been hooked, bobbing in the water will appear. Much like games such as Animal Crossing, small tugs will occur, but the bigger tug indicates a catch. The player will need to click the right mouse button again to start reeling in, and hold down the same button to continue doing so. At this point, you'll hear a twinkling sound and an indicator surrounding the fish in curved brackets will appear. Your goal is to reel in the fish while keeping it within the indicator lines. The indicator will remain green when the fish is within range, and go red when out of bounds. Keep the fish within the green indicator until it's reeled in for the catch. When playing with mouse and keyboard, you move the mouse to adjust the rod and keep the fish within range. When using a controller, you'll use a joystick. There is no button press required to finish catching the fish. It will enter your inventory on its own once it has finished being reeled in. Let's talk about hunting now. Palia has done a great job by adding into the lore that some of the animals are pests and require population control, so you feel a little less bad about how cute they are. Hunting is by far the best way to make money early on. There are 2 animals at the moment for hunting, the chappas and sirnak. Chappa are a burrowing mammal with beaver-like features that make their home in grasslands. They can drop tails, fur, and meat. There are different kinds of chappas, so keep an eye on their markings and colors when exploring new areas. Be careful when you spot the white chappas. You might want to bring some friends with you. Sirnak are deer-like creatures that make their homes in grasslands and forests. They drop meat as well as fur pelts and antlers. Sirnak require 2 basic arrows to take down, while chappas only take 1. This is only for basic arrowheads and for the basic type of animal. This can all change by upgrading your equipment. Keep an eye on their markings and color patterns, and consider bringing friends along for a smoother experience. There might also be some mythical beasts that you run into, and watch out for the teleportation magic. The next on the list is crafting. Now, crafting isn't actually a skill, but furniture making is, and it's the one that you do alone. As you progress in the game, you'll make decor and furniture. Every time you craft a new decor item, you will have the opportunity to invent a new one. There will be many opportunities in the future to learn them all, so don't fret too much when picking which you learn next. This skill is key when it comes to home decor and customization, but you could also focus your time on other skills to make gold and simply buy items as they appear in town shops. Keep in mind, a few select items may not be craftable and only obtainable using gold. While these don't count towards any skill point gains in-game, you can still craft other items and various machinery. Main crafting needs like arrowheads and bug smoke bombs will be available immediately in-game, while others like fishing bait will come later. When it comes to machinery, you'll have starter versions and learn how to make more advanced versions as you complete quests and upgrade other skills, primarily foraging and mining. The next skill is bug catching. Bug catching in Palia is honestly very similar to catching Pokemon if you've ever played those games, except without the battling. Bugs roam around in grass, crawl out from cracked rocks, and fly through the air all around Palia. And like fish, different bugs can be found at different times of day. Bugs are a great way to make gold, but it can be a little tricky to get used to catching mechanic. You are provided with and can craft in the future different types of smoke bombs that render the bugs stunned. To use your smoke bombs, you'll activate the bug catcher's belt in the same menu as you would your other tools. Hold left click to aim, then release to throw. If the smoke bomb comes in contact with the bug, red stress line indicators will appear until the bug settles or tries to run away. Some bugs can take up to 5 basic smoke bombs from my experience, especially if they are a higher quality, indicated by soft sparkles. You'll know a bug has been stunned successfully when gold stars appear and a twinkle noise triggers. You can then go and collect the bug you worked so hard for. Speaking of bugs of higher quality, not only will there be soft sparkles around the bug before you interact with it, once successfully stunned, you'll get a mini fireworks show from them. It's also good to note that crabs and other crawling creatures count as bugs in Palia. Last but not least, cooking. Cooking is progressed by discovering new recipes from villagers you befriend, books you find throughout the world, and working on the cooking quest line. Cooking can take multiple steps to complete a dish, as some ingredients need to be chopped or otherwise prepared before using in a dish. Some recipes will take longer to complete than others. Having friends over to help you cook will greatly help speed up the process. Cooking is one of the more important skills for gameplay, yet not great for making gold. Stamina doesn't exist in Palia. However, there is a mechanic known as focus. Focus allows you to gain skill points faster when completing associated tasks. And to gain focus, you eat food. Different foods provide different amounts of focus. Focus doesn't expire, it is simply used up while playing. It's a good idea to always keep an eye on your focus and top up when needed. But if you forget, don't worry, you still gain experience, just not as much as you would with focus to spend. One last very important fact is that you can cancel all skill actions like fishing, bug catching, and trying to use your bow and arrow by clicking your right mouse button in case you don't want to release an arrow or waste a smoke bomb. Well, that's all on Palia skills for now. If you're not sure what skill to start with, especially if you want to make the most gold up front, every skill other than crafting and cooking make you a decent amount. So wherever you feel your heart pulling you is the best path to follow. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and maybe even subscribe. I'll see you out in the fields of Palia.